Hi, Michelle Glass here. Welcome back to another one of our digestive system lectures. We are still in our chapter 24, lecture 24. And what we're going to do is trace that path of food and look at what's happening at each one of those anatomical structures in that very specialized tube called the digestive tract. So, of course, the opening for our digestive tract is the mouth, and that is actually where our process of digestion begins. So let's look at that. The mouth, of course, is containing the tongue and the teeth and the salivary glands. Now, you should be studying the anatomy of the teeth and naming those different salivary glands as part of your lab work. So make sure that you're looking at that. The tongue is going to be an important muscle in helping to smush food and move it around the mouth. The tongue is also producing some enzymes that are going to help with that digestion, so we'll see that too. Your teeth are, of course, ripping, tearing, mechanically ripping apart those molecules, the food stuff that you're eating. And salivary glands are producing saliva, and part of the composition of the saliva does include important enzymes that are helping to digest the food. So we've said that digestion begins in the mouth, and we're going to see both mechanical and chemical digestion. So we've already mentioned that our teeth and our tongue are going to be important in the ripping, tearing, smashing, moving around of our food stuff. That whole process of chewing involves, of course, not just your teeth, but also the muscles that are controlling your mandible. That process of chewing and eating the food, or biting, I guess, eating is, I don't know. But that process is called mastication. And that's going to be important in helping to break down the proteins that you're eating. So we won't see really any chemical digestion of proteins in the mouth, but we will see the mechanical digestion of proteins in the mouth. Both your complex carbohydrates and your lipids will start chemical digestion in the mouth. So as part of your production of saliva, your salivary glands are producing an enzyme called salivary amylase, which will help to break down starch, so a polysaccharide. So it's going to help break it down into tri and disaccharides. Lingual lipase, lingual means tongue, and lipase would be enzyme that's breaking down lipids. So lingual lipase is being produced by the tongue and is important in the chemical breakdown of lipids. So we're breaking down triglycerides into monoglycerides and fatty acids, or diglycerides, monoglycerides, fatty acids, depending. Okay, so we are seeing that these molecules are starting to get broken down, proteins, carbohydrates, and lipids, both mechanical and chemical digestion. We are keeping up with how proteins are digested, how carbohydrates are digested, and how lipids are digested as we make our way through the digestive tract. So once we have mixed our food in with the saliva and we've started to mash it up and we've masticated it and we're using our tongue to help mix that food stuff in with the saliva, then we're going to call that the bolus. The bolus then is going to be swallowed into the esophagus. Now this process of swallowing has a special name, degglutination. Degglutination starts out consciously and then conscious reflexes take over. So the first phase, the buccal phase, buccal is talking about your cheeks, is going to be your conscious choice. So you have learned through experience when the texture of what you've eaten is okay to go ahead and swallow. So you've taken small bites, you've chewed it, you've mixed it with your tongue, you've smashed it around, and then you choose to swallow. So here you'll see the epiglottis will close over or cover up the glottis being the opening to the larynx. So of course that's preventing food and water from going into the respiratory tract. And then also as part of the swallowing process, the soft palate is going to close off the nasal cavity. So you are separating the digestive tract and the respiratory tract by closing up those openings. Once your bolus moves into the pharynx, then this is the pharyngeal phase. And now we're going to see unconscious reflexes taking over and getting that food stuff, that bolus moved into the stomach. So next, our bolus moves to the esophagus. In the esophagus, we have those peristaltic waves. So remember, that's what I tried to illustrate with my lemon packet, where you're squeezing. I just squeezed a drop out. You're squeezing, contract, 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 propelling that bolus toward the stomach. As the bolus reaches the stomach, then it's going to open up that esophageal sphincter so it can actually enter the stomach. Notice if you have a dry mass of food, you might have to have a secondary peristaltic wave to actually get that food, that bolus, to the stomach. And again, that's unconsciously being regulated. So our digestion is starting in our mouth. The pharynx and the esophagus are really just transport tubes. So they're not themselves secreting anything for digestion. They're not doing any kind of physical movements for digestion. Although you have swallowed saliva in with the bolus, so of course you would still have some action of that salivary amylase and that lingual lipase helping to break down those carbohydrates and lipids. But then we're going to see digestion really continuing in the stomach. So we're going to have some new stuff happening there. So stay tuned.